I love She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. It is probably one of my favorite pieces of media, up there along with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and the hit movie musical Cats. It is this amazingly gay show, and with the 5th season dropping today, I'm ecstatic to see what happens. But another thing I love is fighting games. I adore how character can be expressed through animation, and on the subject of animation, the gorgeous supers and varying animation styles that dazzle the eye. I love the hype of professionals playing at tournaments at their peak level, pushing the game to its limit, and I love the sense of accomplishment and fun I have playing rounds with my friends. I even love labbing out the same combo for 4 hours. So, I was thinking one day, and this idea came into my head. What if there was a She-Ra fighting game? What kind of game would it be? What kind of game would I want it to be? More and more ideas came into my head about characters, moves, stages, supers, and then I realized I have no coding experience. I'm a terrible animator, and my friend who can do that sort of thing is busy with her own fighting game, and more importantly, still hasn't seen She-Ra yet. So, since it is highly unlikely for a fighting game of She-Ra to actually get made, let's just gather around and theorycraft a little. Now, I want to get this out of the way as soon as possible, but this will be my personal ideal fighting game. It will probably not be your ideal. So with that disclaimer done, let's discuss the system. I want to base this off already existing games so as to help ease people into understanding how this system would work without having to build a system from the ground up. The first thing we have to establish is that this game needs to be a tag team fighting game. One of the show's core themes is relationships, and in my opinion, a tag team fighter is an excellent way to represent the bonds of She-Ra by building a team designed to play off each other's strengths and weaknesses. Next up, the game is going to be a 2D fighter. Mainly because while I've played Tekken, and it's a fun game, that system is a lot. But that still leaves a lot of fighting games to base it around, from Dragon Ball FighterZ, to BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, to Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, to Skullgirls. FighterZ, while it's a ton of fun, the system's homing dash, key blasts, and in general aerial focus is so part of its core that removing it would leave the system hollow and also feels very out of the realm of Princesses of Power. BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, while also being a great game, is limiting in its 2v2 roster. And come on, we all know have a version that allows the best friend squad, a team board, grudge match. And well, there's Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, but yeah, that's a broken mess I ain't touching. So that leaves Skullgirls and, well, a bit of some others, but we'll touch on those later. Some would say that I chose Skullgirls as it's my favorite fighting game, but the main reason I chose it is that it's a 6-button fighter, allowing me to create a lot of unique special moves to round out the cast. There's probably a good deal of people watching this who are unfamiliar with fighting games, so let me explain Skullgirls' system. First, you of course have the ability to move with the joystick or controller. Holding down and back allows you to block low attacks, which cannot be blocked while you're standing and blocking, but this is in itself countered by overhead attacks. Overhead attacks are attacks that have the overhead property, and some standing moves have them, and most jumping moves have them. By tapping twice forward, characters are able to dash, some are able to run after the dash if the forward button is held, and some can dash in the air. Additionally, some characters can double jump, and all characters can super jump. A super jump is done by tapping down, then up, as up is jump. The light punch, light kick, medium punch, medium kick, heavy punch, and heavy kick. Grabbing is done by pressing light punch and light kick at the same time, and ignores blocking. You have 2 assist buttons. This will either call in one of your teammates to do an attack by tapping, or to swap out by holding the button. In most tag team fighting games, when you take damage, some of it is shown as red. When you're swapped out, then the character will recover that red health, and so would be the same in this game. The way assist attacks work would be very similar to Skullgirls. You get 2 assist options, and a third option to make whatever assist you want. You can't make a string of inputs an assist, but you can do specials, supers, princess powers, and most importantly, taunts. However, if you don't want to play a team of 3, much like Skullgirls, you can play a team of 2 or 1, and the game would balance accordingly to make it a fair fight. But you're probably wondering about what those princess powers I mentioned are, and yes, even Hordak would have one. Well, in the game Untitled, by pressing 2 attack buttons, you would do a unique action called a force function. Gatsuki would do a counter, Rakava has a unique grab, that sort of thing. Another example would be the unique traits of Injustice. which would be a lot closer to how they would act, but their activation would be similar to how it works in Unith, while pressing both medium attack buttons at the same time. These will be discussed more when we cover the characters' movesets themselves. Additionally, specials and supers will have more detail gone into during character. The main thing to talk about them though is that, like Grand Blue, everyone has a universal anti-air / get off me special and a universal range special, though each one will be unique in its characteristics to diversify the characters. In Grand Blue, the character of Lancelot has this standard ice projectile, and his get off me move is this teleport strike that is invincible on stardom. So, while it anti-airs, it functions more as a get out of this attack pressure move. Charlotta has the very fun ranged move where she spins to close the distance and make herself a projectile. That said, while it can be safe on block as she bounces off to put her at a better distance, it can be punished, making it a unique projectile of sorts. But her anti-air is a much more standard anti-air with this rising attack. Then there is the supers. You can gain 5 bars of meter and are able to spend them with various supers costing anywhere between 1 and 5 bars. One of the other unique features not found in Skullgirls is the burst move. This is a one-use move that breaks a combo pushing the opponent away. I don't care too much for comeback features, so it has no other bonus than stopping a combo that could potentially kill a character. That said, a good player who can read the burst would be able to counter it with a properly timed assist. And like most fighting games, the strength of the attack decreases with each hit in a combo so as not to completely destroy a character in one combo. And there we have the basic framework of this game established. Now all it's missing is characters. I've been thinking on this project for a while, so I have a lot of movesets already scripted up, but things have been hectic lately, so the final step of going through the entire series and finding reference for some, or revising others to fit more with what the character actually does in the show, is still underway. That being said, I want to stress this right away, that these characters' movesets will be made less off of references to the show, and like direct one-to-one actions that they do, similar to how Dragon Ball FighterZ, where almost every move has a direct counterpart to the manga or anime, but more like how the Ruby cast is handled in BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. They have references, sure, but it's less moves they've done in the show, and more moves based off of what they are capable of in the show while highlighting their personalities. Yang Shotgun Blasts tend not to function this way, and to the best of my knowledge, she has never done something like this in the show. However, this feels like something she could and would do. As for the personality aspect, Yang is a hot-headed gal with a close-range fighting style of punch it really hard. So, she naturally plays as an aggressive, in-your-face character who gets all up in your grill and doesn't let up, just like the Yang of the show. This will be the design philosophy I will be taking into account for these characters. Additionally, I will be often making their moves closer to other moves done within fighting games, so as I can provide easy reference material for what they look like. Thankfully though, this design philosophy allows me to diversify the cast so there isn't a sense of overlap and each character is able to fill a unique archetype. However, this philosophy does mean that creative liberties were taken with some characters, and I hope that you can understand where I'm coming from when we get to those characters. I also made absolutely sure to not fall into the trap of favoritism and give my favorite characters more unique things than others.
You know, like a liar.
If I've done everything right, you're eager to see what characters in this system would look like. But, as I stated earlier, I haven't finished my rewatch of the earlier parts to help round out some of the characters and gather footage, as it's surprisingly time-consuming. And with the final season dropping, some characters may be delayed to see how they might change in the final season, and whether or not I just need to make another version of them. All this being said, there are some characters who I consider to be already fully assembled. I will begin production of those characters, so you don't have to wait too long for the full cast. My goal is to hopefully get one video done every 2 weeks highlighting a character, or maybe a couple if I feel I can get them both done in time, but I make no promises. I hope to see you all there for them, so subscribe and ring the bell so you'll be notified of when that happens. I also have intentionally not come up with a name, so in the comments you can leave what names you think would work well for this theoretical game. And definitely not because I suck at naming things. Catch you next time when we cover the Princess of Power herself, She-Ra.